Now I'll call the meeting to order. That brings us to Section 2, Agenda Changes. We do have a couple, and for Section 2, Consent Agenda, we added item 7.15, Amendment 1 to Dual Enrollment Agreement between the Gates Aerospace Institute, Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University, and the School Board of Okaloosa County, Florida, presented by Jeff Palmer, Director 1, Curriculum and Instruction, and recommended by the Superintendent for approval. We added item 7.16, Purchase and Sale Agreement for Real Property in Destin, Florida, and authorization to advertise for a public hearing, presented by Dr. Bill Smith, Program Director, Facilities Planning, and recommended by the Superintendent for approval. A motion to approve advertising for a public hearing to receive input on the proposed real estate purchase and sale agreement between the School Board of Okaloosa County, Florida, and Zeffman Partners, Inc., and to consider final approval to the purchase agreement, and to authorize the chairman to initial the counterproposal, and to authorize the superintendent to deliver the earnest money deposit. And under board members' announcements and/or requests for information, we added item 13.2, designation of a school board member to serve as the board's representative to the Education Staff Professional of the Year Selection Committee.
I'll move the agenda.
Thank you. I have a motion by Dr. White. I need a second.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Bryant. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And it carries unanimously. That brings us to Section 3. We have none this evening. Section 4, personnel appointments. We have none of those either. Section 5, public comment, agenda item only, blue card version. We have any of those, Ms. Mary? None. Section 6 was for the workshop only. Section 7, consent agenda.
I move that we approve the consent agenda.
I'll
Second.
second it. Oh, sorry.
Okay.
You got it?
Moved by
Dr. White?
Mr. Bryant, seconded by Dr. White. All in favor?
Aye.
And that carried unanimously. That brings us down to Section 8, Superintendent's Human Resources Recommendations. 8.1 and 8.2 were information only this morning at the workshop. 8.3, out-of-field report for the 2023-2024 school year, presented by Sharon Duran. I need a motion.
I'll move it.
Moved by Ms. Gardner.
I'll second it.
Seconded by Ms. Evanchik. All in favor?
Aye.
And that carried unanimously. 8.4, employment separations, presented by Dr. Hale.
I'll move it.
Moved by Ms. Evanchik.
Second.
Second by Ms. Gardner. I need call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
And that carried unanimously. 8.5, personnel recommendations, presented by Dr. Hale.
I'll move it.
Moved by Ms. Gardner.
I'll second it.
Seconded by Ms. Evanchik. All in favor?
Aye.
And that carried unanimously as well. 8.6, employee transfers, presented by Dr. Hale.
I'll move it.
Moved by Mr. Bryant.
Second.
Seconded by Dr. White. All in favor?
Aye.
And that was unanimous as well. 8.7, leave without pay, presented by Dr. Hale.
I'll move it.
Moved by Ms. Evanchik.
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Gardner. All in favor?
Aye.
And that was unanimously carried as well. Section 9, we have nothing on discussion agenda this evening, so that brings us to Section 10, one of our favorite parts of the evening, the Construction Program Owners Representatives Business Status Report. Mr. Bryant.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And we did have a meeting today, but I am going to reserve discussion on this until our next workshop because it is pretty lengthy and detailed. So we'll have a detailed report then.
All right, thank you. We look forward to that. Section 11, Attorney's Business.
No report tonight.
Thank you. And 12, Superintendent's Business.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And as you know, this morning at the board workshop, we discussed several items and also had a few departments come up and give some presentations, and I do not have anything further at this time.
Thank you. We appreciated that information this morning.
Thank you.
A reminder before we go into board members' announcements that at 6:15 we will go into public hearing. We have 4 or 5 items there to go into. So Section 13, board members' announcements and/or requests for information. And I'll start with Ms. Evangelist so that I don't.
I knew
omit
you were
her.
gonna do that.
Well, as you're
I
aware,
apologize.
Madam Chair, I did get that in this morning, and that pretty much does it for me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Gardner.
Yes, after the workshop today, I went by, and I typically stop by some schools, but I went by Elliott Point, and I was searching for the principal and found him. They are moving into their new wing right there, the 4th and 5th grade, and he has a dolly, and he's moving those big panels, what are they, 82-something inches, and he's furniture and everything. And those rooms are absolutely amazing. I have seen as the construction's going along, but to see the super cool furniture, and of course I'm primary, and I had to sit in the chairs, and they had those special chairs that rock, and I think I need one right here because I do like to wiggle. But it was so exciting to see that. Again, they're clean and sparkling, and the furniture and the teachers and the pride that they're taking their day to day to move in and set up. And, I just I wish our parents, our community members would, of course, go in and sign in, but go look to see where your half-cent sales tax and what it's going toward. Often we just get classrooms and we don't get the brand new furniture, but I was seeing the desk that they can write on, the desk for working, they can collaborate together, and it was just so amazing to see. And I just wish I could be there tomorrow morning to see the students' faces when they walk in and they see their classroom. It was just very exciting, as you can tell. Still excited about it. I'd just like to say that this coming Friday night is Fort Walton Beach High School. They will induct Dr. Alexis Tibbetts and Steve Riggs for the Hall of Fame, just a reminder of that. Also to congratulate Fort Walton Beach High School. I think this is year 55 straight superior ratings for their the band. The competition was last weekend. Also on Friday, October the 27th, from 5 to 6:30, Silver Sands will be hosting a fish fry. And this is going to be done by Dewey Destin's. If you've never had Dewey Destin's seafood, you're missing out. It's absolutely delicious. It is a fundraiser. It's $10 a ticket or plate, and which is a great deal. They do have to-go plates, but if you want to stay, they'll have like picnic tables out there for you to eat. They would like to have prepaid tickets, but if you don't have a prepaid ticket, they will be more than happy to serve you. You can call the school, you can visit their website, they have a QR code that you can purchase your meal. This is right before the Fort Walton Beach High School Choctaw game, so you can come and have a delicious meal and then go watch Fort Walton, maybe, I won't say beat, but
Now, let me tell you what, that's dangerous.
it's going to be a great game.
And the media, we've seen a few examples of people
It's,
talking about
and
things
I've
like
never
that.
been able to wear green, Dr. White. I've never been able, it's not my color, sorry. But I like to
All you gotta do
think,
is ask a team over to the west of us, right?
it's always fun, as Dr. Kelly said earlier. It's a fun competition. But I like to thank Dewey Destin and Becky Destin. They have worked with Silver Sands for years. Becky has been on the SAC committee for many, many years. But they do a lot of different fundraiser, and they're big community supporters, especially at Silver Sands. So we do appreciate their support. So mark your calendar, October the 27th, 5 to 6:30 at Fish Fry. And I think that's all.
Good.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ms.
It will be
Gardner. Mr. Bryant.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Kelly. Last meeting, as you know, I wasn't present at our workshop or our regular meeting, and I was what I affectionately call the swamp of Washington, D.C. It was a lot of fun representing not only the district but the state of Florida. There was 21 out of the 25 states that are members of the COSBA, which is the Consortium of State School Boards Association, in Washington, D.C., meeting with representatives. The Florida delegation got to meet with 20 of 28 of our representatives, both of our senators, and they even had an opportunity to go to the White House to meet with senior White House advisors in education. So it was really a great experience. Unfortunately, everything that was happening that week was everybody was worried about the shutdown of the government. So that made it really interesting, and but it was very productive. We got to talk about items that we felt were important to Florida education. IDEA is one item that we talked about Title I funding and nutrition funding. So those are three important items that at the federal level we felt we could use some support with. Last week I was in Gainesville at the other swamp, and at the University of Florida was where we were meeting for the Florida School Boards Association Board of Directors retreat. And it was really a great time for all of us to come together, for some of us to reflect on the Washington trip, but also to talk about things that are going to be happening in the upcoming legislature. And of course, deregulation is really one of the hot topics that we feel like as an organization, also even within our county, is something that we really need to have our representatives really focus on to help that cause. And as a matter of fact, on Friday, Representative Maney is going to meet with me in Crestview and along with the superintendent, and we're going to hopefully be able to share with him our feelings about some of the legislative priorities from the Florida School Boards Association, from our county. And we're very fortunate that we have a friend in Judge Maney. He is a friend of public education, and so I think it would be very prudent of us to kind of get him before he goes to Tallahassee. So that's what we're doing. And also, I'd like to thank our supervisor of elections, Paul Lux. He was actually at our board of directors meeting last week to talk about the constitutional amendment that will be on the general election in 2024 about nonpartisan school boards. And he really gave an really insightful breakdown about nonpartisan versus partisan, how it became, and just everything that has to do with the election process. And for any of y'all that have had the opportunity to sit and listen to Paul Lux, we have one of the best supervisors of elections in not only the state but in the country. And he gives a very broad and very informative look at how the election cycle or the elections run and all that. And he was greeted by such enthusiasm that the Florida School Boards Association has asked him to do a webinar on it, so that way it can go to all the members. So I was really excited to hear that. But that's what was happening in my life the last 2 weeks. But it's an honor to represent our board, and that's the way I look at it. I represent not just me being there, but all five of us being there, along with the superintendent and the rest of the Okaloosa County School Districts.
Thank you for that
Thank you for
report.
doing
We're
it.
glad you're there.
Yeah, we're glad that you're representing us.
Thank you. Dr. White?
Well, thank you, and of course, I had some remarks this
Yes, you
morning,
did.
so I won't have anything this evening.
All right, thank you. And I'll just finish up by reminding everyone that if you haven't applied for free and reduced lunches, please do so right away. And while we're talking about school food lunches, I just wanted to give a shout out to Steve Anderson and to Anna Kilpatrick and the group over there at Food Services, because can you imagine anywhere else that you could go and for $2.70 get a full meal that's high nutritional value? So I just think they do a tremendous job, and they take care of our students so well. And this week, October the 9th through the 13th, is National School Lunch Week, so how appropriate that we remember them. And as I said this morning, we are approximately 5 weeks away from Thanksgiving and 9 weeks away from Christmas, so mark your calendars. It's coming upon us quickly.
Dr. Kelly, before we go into public comment, can I make one more comment?
Sure, I have one more announcement, but
Oh, I'm sorry,
you go
I'm sorry.
ahead.
So,
No, you go ahead.
Real quick, I just wanted to shout out to Kevin Lusk out in the audience.
Yes,
He's our choral
absolutely.
director at Crestview
At
High School,
Crestview.
and seeing that he's out there, welcome.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I'd already motioned to him earlier, but we know Mr. Lusk and appreciate him and have for a long, long time. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Yes, absolutely. I just wanted to end my comments with something today that, since we approved on our consent agenda, something related to technology and new policies there, I found when I was cleaning out some files, a letter from the superintendent in 1997. Who knows who our superintendent was in 1997? Superintendent Gordon, Walter Gordon. And his letter was to me. At that time, I was over school technology and media services. And his letter went something like this. I won't read the whole thing, but his letter to me was about the new acceptable use policy, which our board had just approved a policy that I had helped write. But then his letter to parents, I thought you would appreciate this one. August the 21st, 1997. Dear parents of Okaloosa County students, this year, for the first time, all of our schools will be connected to the internet. We're excited about this advantages, but also the responsibilities. And it goes on to have an attachment that has definitions such as a computer virus, district web page server, upload, download, reposting, software, and spam. I just thought you'd get a hoot out of that since we were talking about technology today. That's all of my business. We do have one other item of business under section 13.2, which is the designation of a school board member to serve as our representative on the Education Staff Professional of the Year Selection Committee. So have anybody who wants to?
I cannot because I'll be representing us for FISBIT that week. So if I wasn't, I would be honored to do it, but unfortunately I will not be in town.
And Ms. Gardner can't.
And I was hoping I could do, and I know I talked to Mr. McGinnis, if I could do one day but not the second, but we
know.
felt like it was best that the same
Have that
person did both.
consistently.
And
Which one are you?
Right.
Well, I've already got the principals and the assistant principals, so.
Ms. Ivanchek, would you like to do it?
I've done it
I did it.
twice, and I have the foundation and the value adjustment board, so my
Dr.
plate's a
Kelly?
little.
I'll do it if nobody else. That's okay.
sorry.
If you don't want to do it, I'll do it. You don't want? Okay.
you can give me one of your committees or one of your,
I will.
I owe you big
No,
time.
you don't owe
I
me.
do,
It's a-
I
it's
do.
a pleasure.
I feel bad about this, but
No.
my
It's an honor.
son, family needs me.
I understand. You're where you need to be, where you're needed
I
most.
am.
Thank you. So do we need to vote on that? We need a
That's
motion?
designate your person, yes, ma'am.
Right.
So I will make a motion that Dr. Kelly be our representative for the Support Personnel Committee this year.
I'll second it.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
And that carried unanimously.
Thank you very much.
Okay. That brings us to section 14, public comment, the yellow card version.
We need to move into
Public
public
hearing.
hearings,
I'm
Madam
sorry,
Chair.
thank you for that. It is 6:18, and we'll move down to section 15, and then we'll go back to the yellow cards. So section 15, public hearing, will break to consider these items. So 15.1 is a public hearing for adoption of revised School Board Policy 04-28, Emergency Operations and School Safety and Security, presented by Danny Dean, Program Director, Safe Schools, and recommended by the Superintendent for approval. Is there anyone here this evening to address this item? Seeing none, I need a motion.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Bryant,
Second.
second by Ms. Gardner. All in favor?
Aye.
And that carried unanimously. 15.2, public hearing for the adoption of revised School Board Policy 06-39, Employees' Use of Social Media, presented by Eric Mitchell, Director 1 MIS and Instructional Technology, and recommended by the Superintendent for approval. Is there anyone here to speak to this item?
Madam Chair, I would remind the board that the version before you for adoption did have a couple of changes to it, in that what had been Section C 11 was re-lettered now as Section J, and had a phrase added to it, except as an instructional tool, is in that document.
Great. All right. I need a motion.
I'll move it.
Moved by Ms. Savanchik,
Second.
seconded by Ms. Gardner. All in favor?
Aye.
And that carried unanimously. 15.3, public hearing for adoption of revised School Board Policy 08-07, requirements for instructional personnel, presented by Dr. Hale, Assistant Superintendent, Human Resources, and recommended by the Superintendent for approval. Is anyone here to speak to this item? Seeing none, I need a motion.
Move it.
Moved by Ms. Gardner,
I'll second it.
seconded by Ms. Savanchik. All in favor?
Aye.
And that carried unanimously. 15.4, public hearing for the adoption of revised School Board Policy, Chapter 12, School District Transportation, presented by Jay McGinnis, Program Director, Transportation, and recommended by the Superintendent for approval. Is anyone here to speak to item 15.4? Seeing none, I need a motion.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Bryant,
I'll second it.
seconded by Ms. Evancheck. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And that carried unanimously. 15.5, public hearing for the adoption of a revised job description for human resource analyst, presented by Dr. Hale, Assistant Superintendent, and recommended by the Superintendent for approval. Is anyone here to speak to 15.5? Seeing none, I need a motion.
Move it.
Moved by Ms. Gardner.
I'll second it.
Seconded by Ms. Evancheck. All in favor?
Aye.
And that also carried unanimously. Now scroll back up to section 14, public comment not related to agenda items. And we do have one yellow card, Julie Mooney and Amy Ruth Hanson. Right.
And might I go over the
Please.
procedures? As to a non-agenda item, you'll have 2 minutes tonight to make your remarks to the board.
Okay.
And we would ask that you direct your comments directly to the chairman and not to individual board members. Also, questions should be directed to the chairman. Concerns discussed should relate to educational issues in the district. Items pertaining to personnel matters are the responsibility of the superintendent and are not routinely heard before the board. And we would ask that all speakers act in a respectful manner tonight during our meeting. Thank you.
Before you start, Miss Allie, your name was not on the card, but I'm happy to add you if you want to speak. Sure.
We would love
Would you
to
like
have
me
you
to
up
add
here.
your name?
Acting Mayor Pro Tem for the City of Niceville.
All right, I added you.
Time for-
Hi, I'm Julie Mooney.
Here,
Okay. I am Julie Mooney. I am here today as the public information person for the Northwest Florida Aquatic Sports and Training Center. And
Hold on.
She went
Yeah,
1 second,
yeah.
right.
Let's
we
get
can
our
stop that.
technology people to stop the beeping.
Where's the power plug?
There we go.
There
Good job.
When all else fails, pull the battery.
you go. Right.
Okay, go ahead, Ms. Julie.
all right, so the City of Niceville, in conjunction with other people, other entities, is looking to propose a regional aquatic sports and training center. We are looking primarily in Niceville as the location for this. We're looking for a couple of Olympic-sized pools with a diving area, enough spectator seating to seat like 1,000 people. So we are looking at a large regional aquatic center, somewhere between 21 million and 32 million. The good news for you guys tonight is that I'm not coming up here to look for money. What we are looking for at this point is a cooperative agreement that you support the idea of having this aquatic center in our area. I'm sure all of you know our schools here, none of them have a pool. They do not have a way to, a really nice facility for their swim teams. And so we are looking to promote that. It's looking like we had a study done, and they're looking at a $235 million impact in our area and create hundreds of jobs with this facility. And so what we are looking for is just that you support the idea of having this in the area. And then if you will sign our interlocal agreement saying that you support this as a community and as the school board, we will be using that to get federal grants, state grants, and then also personal donations. So that's why we are here today.
Thank you. Either of you, other two ladies want to speak? Miss Allie or Ms. Ruth?
So again, I just want to say that we're not asking for money tonight. We're just asking for support for this facility. If it goes forward, we're still a little ways down the road for this to go. So again, thank you for your time tonight, and thank you, Mr. Chambers, for having us tonight. And do you have any questions about this?
When are you thinking you might have this done? It just depends on financing.
Correct. Well, it depends on financing, it depends on grants, it depends on the location as well. So we're still working on the location for
I was going
it.
to say, have you picked something, or You have some
we
possibilities?
We have 3 locations in mind, so we're still working on that. Do you want to speak to that, Amy?
Sure. So yes, we do have 3 strong possibilities that we're looking for, and we have already done a feasibility study as well as an economic study. So the city of Niceville has put close to $75,000 into this proposal to try to get the support of our community. We have spoken to people in Walton County as well, and the goal is that if we build a large enough facility, we can get people to come in from out of state, colleges from out of state to train here in the off season, which will help with the TDC promote Okaloosa as a place to come.
Thank you.
Well,
That-
and I have just maybe
Sure,
a couple of
go ahead,
questions. And I guess the first one is do you anticipate soliciting support by other groups and entities, or
Yes.
maybe you've already done that?
We have sent out letters to all of the municipalities as well as Okaloosa County. We have the support of Crestview, I believe the city of Laurel Hill, as well as Okaloosa County. They have already signed their cooperative agreement with
all
us
right.
as well.
Good.
So we're trying to invite everyone, the college, we've invited them to
Right.
join as well.
Okay. And which leads to my second question. I'm not sure, Chairman, how something like this would even work. Would it involve our council working with
That's maybe an
the
agenda
I was
city
item.
wondering
council
with Mr. McGinnis.
of Niceville and coming up with some kind of draft language? How
MOU.
I
does
think they
that
already,
work?
An
I think they
MOU.
already have the agreement. We would just need to get it and review it and bring it back to a board
Okay,
meeting.
all right, so you'll take that under review then? Okay, very good.
Right, so we can look forward to addressing this in the future.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you so
ladies,
much
for
for your
being here.
time.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate it.
Exciting.
Thanks so much.
She's exciting.
Okay, was that our only card this evening, Mary?
Yes.
Thank you. All right. And we've already had our public hearing. Is there anything else for the good of the order? Anything from the executive staff members? We don't have our union members present. Anybody else comment? Then we are adjourned. Thank you for your kind attention tonight.